statistical analysis of the relations between API specific gravity and sulfur content in the universal crude oil. Introduction and methodology. This section is important for this research. So for this study, data of crude oil sample were statistically analyzed using Statistical software program version 5.5. Data include specific gravity weight percent, API, and sulfur content percent are collected from global publications for 135 crude oil samples. So this work is mainly targeted to clarify the relationships between API, SG, I mean specific gravity, and sulfur content. How sulfur content affect the crude oil quality. Now I got a result. You can see here three figures. This is a table of result, and the results are presented here by two figures. The values of API SP gravity weight percent were plotted here. The left one shows negative relationship between specific gravity and API, and the same result was found here between weight percent versus API. The next slide, I still in result, and this slide is just for detailed presentation for sulfur content percent against API. Anyway, a negative relationship appears in both these figures. Next slide, the cumulative frequency curve of our sample, 138 crude oil. This is the most important slide. At the left figure, you can see half percent or half of samples of a medium oil. You can see here, this is of medium crude oil. And the second half are classified as heavy and light. This colors mean heavy, and these colors mean light crude oil. The crude oil is classified according their categories here, according or based on API, extra heavy, heavy, medium, light. This figure presents the API and number of samples. Here we can see the longest bar, which is of half of sample, 50%, is of medium crude oil, and these two colors, green and yellow, green and blue colors, are of heavy crude oil, composing of about 30%, and the light is represented by these three colors. They are composed of only 20%. This figure on the right represents the relationship between number of samples and sulfur content. This bar represents half of samples, which is of very low content of sulfur. Take a look here. It's low sulfur. And these cumulative bars represent medium to high content sulfur. So, mostly the high sulfur content refer to heavy oil, while the low sulfur content refer to light and some of medium crude oil. How to improve or how to confirm our conclusion? Our conclusion was confirmed perfectly by the fitting line. You can see this line of normal probability show a very fitting for the observed value and expected value of normal probability. Now I got a conclusions. In simplified way, I can say, high sulfur mean low API and means heavy oil quality. Low sulfur means high API and and light oil. This conclusion is of highly economic value. That's all, and thank you very much. You can read these findings. I will let you to take a look for 1 minute to make sure the relationship between each of parameters that we have studied. So thereafter, thank you very much for your listening and for your attention.